might not like what I'm about to say, but I gotta speak my truth. I think Thunderbolts could be a top 10, top 5 movie in the entire MCU. And it's time for us to acknowledge that Marvel really cooked up something special with Thunderbolts. There's a lot of reasons why I personally feel that way, but guess what? I got two both for you. Because we got even more details about Thunderbolts, and there ain't no one that can break it down like me but me. And I promise you, after you watch this video, you're gonna say, yeah! So me and you, we gotta talk about it. Ever since we got the announcement that we were going to get a Thunderbolts movie at D23 in 2022, most people were pissed. Not me, because when we got our first official concept art of the Thunderbolts team, everyone was like, where's Zemo? Where's Thunderbolt Ross? It's just a bunch of super soldiers that kick and punch and ghost. While we do have a few members that have showed up in the Thunderbolts comics before, we didn't have like the key players. But once I saw all the amount of talent that was involved in this movie, from the cast, but mainly the crew, I knew they were going to be cooking up something special, something with more substance, something to say. And let me just get this out of the way, because I'm tired of hearing people say, how are they going to beat Sentry? Wow, that actually sounds like a really interesting premise for a movie. We've all lost our ability to think critically. But anyway, I've been saying for 3 years on this app, since I first started this damn account, that this movie was going to be damn great. Because I think the talent behind the camera is just as good, if not better, than the talent in front of the camera. They even made an entire trailer dedicated to these very talented filmmakers. And everything we've seen from the marketing so far, from the practical stunts, sets, and just the overall tone and vibe, I already knew this movie was going to be at least good. But then you add what this movie's going to be about thematically, and why I've always had faith that this team was going to give us something great. Because when you look at every single member of this team, they're all people who have been manipulated by their government and have never had free will and have struggled to find purpose. Like Yelena, who had her childhood stolen from her, and in her case was under mind control, not just manipulation, by Dreykov to do his bidding. It wasn't until the end of that movie that she had her own purpose. And we even touch on that a little bit when she starts dressing the way she wants to dress, and she really got that shit on. But even now, she doesn't really have a purpose. She's struggling to find that. And now, instead of Dreykov, sure, she has her free will, but she's still taking orders from Val. But she really just out here face card farming. I mean, do I even really have to explain Bucky? At least he got to live up until he was, what, like 20-something? But for 70 years, this man was just used as a weapon to do Hydra and Russia's bidding. And I'm not gonna hold you, he was really out there war farming. He was, I don't care. And even when he got a little taste of that free will after Winter Soldier, Zemo just hit the factory reset settings. But even through all of his therapy sessions in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which, I'm not gonna lie to you, hit hard, seems like he's still struggling to figure out where he fits, what his purpose is. And he's really still trying to make amends. I know there's one person that he wishes he could say sorry to, Tony Stark, and he can't. Does he believe that he's really a hero? Is that why he's trying to run for Congress? When you look at Ghost, she also has a very tragic backstory. She was never even a villain in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Her childhood was taken from her. And again, she was manipulated and taking orders from her government. Even the good guys at S.H.I.E.L.D. because she just felt so much pain. When you look at a dude like Alexei, Red Guardian, he's actually just, he loves this shit. Like, he really wants to be a hero. He has all this super soldier serum running through his veins, and he just wants to be regarded as his country's version of Captain America. Which, by the way, I can't wait to see his interaction with U.S. Agent. But Dreykov just used him as a battering ram. He never saw his potential. He never gave him true purpose, and then he locked his ass away in a Russian Siberian prison. Why didn't Dreykov use mind control on him? That would have been a pretty valuable asset, and also would have shut him up. But I like Alexei. Hell, I love him. You look at a guy like John Walker, who you and me both hated. He's actually starting to become a more interesting character in the entire MCU because he is one of the more compelling ones. He spelled it out for us when he got stripped of the Captain America title. I only ever did what you asked me to do. If Steve Rogers is what we hope America can be, unfortunately, John Walker is the ugly truth that America is. And even after all of this, he's still struggling to find purpose, taking orders from Val. Do I even gotta explain this? Antonia got a building stomped on her face, and then her own dad turned her into a fucking Terminator. Please tell me the real Tony Masters is out there somewhere, because this right here is the equivalent of sewing Deadpool's mouth shut. When I first saw this, I was like, what the hell is that? Which leads us to Bob, who, if you don't know, is actually Robert Reynolds, and he's gonna end up being Sentry / the Void. Not that Void, but this one right here, Demon Home. And the more I thought about it, the more perfect Sentry being the main villain in this movie is, because he's just like them. He's someone that's being experimented on and used for someone else's ulterior motives. It goes back to the Civil War effect of why I always thought Cap was right. Politically, he's still wrong for doing what he did to Tony. But governments are run by people with agendas, and like he said, agendas change. So having Bob / Sentry / the Void being the like embodiment of all of that, because Val is using him as a marketing product. She views him as a product, as someone that's going to do her bidding. She said he's stronger than all the Avengers wrapped together. He's in big. But what she doesn't realize is it's about to unlock the Void. So the fact that they're having the actual Void be what makes all these characters face their past traumas, as we can see Yelena right here literally walking into the Void. At least that's where I hope all these, civilians are going to, like, to the Shadow Realm, and they come back somehow. Because if not, this is a lot of bodies. But adding another reason why I think Thunderbolts is going to be special and have something more to say is that's going to be focused on mental health. And this is the perfect cast of characters to do that with. Director Jake Schreier says that Thunderbolts feels different from the other MCU movies. There's an emotional darkness that we brought to this that is so resonant, but but doesn't come at the expense of comedy. And I know there's a lot of people that are done with MCU comedy nowadays. They're right behind me, aren't they type shit. So that's a beautiful welcome sight. But I absolutely love this because he goes on to say, on a character level, they're all a little bit lost, looking for belonging, purpose, and perhaps redemption. Particularly Lewis Pullman's mysterious Bob, the unknown quantity among the team. Bob is going through what all of them are probably secretly going through. Yelena sees part of herself in him. She's always been someone that wants to look after people. She has a sweet spot for him and essentially likes looking after him because he's useless. And don't forget, nobody knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were until they were brought to the screen, and they became a family because they had flaws, but they found one in each other, and that's why we love them so much. So I think the Thunderbolts are going to be a combination of Guardians and obviously the Suicide Squad, since, you know, Thunderbolts, Suicide Squad, kind of similar. They ain't the Avengers. They ain't got high tech or money. They just got...
Don't rush him if I press the button. Too drippy to scuff. The blick in the duffel, it came with a muzzle, so why would I...
And on top of that, Jake Schreier compared the character dynamics to those in the films of Reservoir Dogs, Ronin, and Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, which are films that are all about mismatched teams forced to work together. But this one right here made me stand up, clap, and salute when he said another inspiration for this film was Toy Story 3, saying that the Thunderbolts team are all facing obsolescence like the Toy Story characters are in the film. And that's just a perfect way to like sum up these cast of characters. And dog, if we get an incinerator scene with the Thunderbolts, I think I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Ha! I mean, Taskmaster's gonna get that Kit Kat treatment, that Megatron treatment, that, you want a piece of me? You want a piece? No, I want two. Because Sentry's gonna tear her ass apart. Like, also, I just need more Sentry aura farming. And we need to keep him alive so he could fight World Breaker Hulk eventually if they ever make a World War Hulk movie. And for those people asking how they're gonna beat Sentry / the Void, I mean, one of the ways they did it in the comics was having Doctor Strange, Reed Richards, helping Robert Reynolds / the Sentry forget the Void part of his brain, which sounds similar. But now I'm curious if they'll do some kind of Jedi mind tricks on him, because I feel like Bell had to have done some type of experiment similar to what they did with Bucky and all of his code words. But more likely than not, they're gonna talk him down. It'll be some type of internal struggle he's gonna have, which is still dope because I want to see him on the Dark Avengers, because we all know that asterisk means it's gonna be the Dark Avengers. Oh yeah, that's Dakin, that's Bullseye, and that's Scorpion, by the way. A lot of people get that confused. Florence Pugh on my screen as the lead role for 2 hours. I need that more than air. I've never been wanting to be held at gunpoint more than in this moment. And if that don't have you excited, there was a recent test screening for audiences, and this is what that person had to say when they came out of the movie. If you're feeling jaded by the cape shit genre because they're all feeling the same, I would check this one out. The journey it takes the characters on is actually interesting. The team dynamics is great, not unlike Guardians of the Galaxy. The way the Sentry / the Void is executed into the story is really fascinating. I expect this one to leg out well into the following weeks after it drops. I see the tomato meter being above 90% for critics and audiences. Of course, I could be wrong, but the audience I was with seemed to love it and couldn't stop talking highly about it after the screening. And don't forget, we're probably going to get the post-credit scene that should have been the post-credit scene in Brave New World, where Zemo talks to Thunderbolt Ross at the raft, and probably the leader, about forming a new team. Or there's a team out there that's using your name. Oh yeah, and because I know there's a lot of people that like being embarrassingly wrong in my comments, Zemo is at the raft. He's not in Wakanda. The Dora Milaje took him to the raft. Here's the clip.
Goodbye, James. We will take him to the raft, where he will live out his days.
But that's everything that's got me feeling like Thunderbolts could be a top 10, top 5 movie in the entire MCU. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What do you think about all this? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, like and follow for more.